one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could have a roll call and determination of quorum, please.
Pro Tem Ford,
Here.
Councilmember Mosher,
Here.
Councilmember Lamb,
Here.
Councilmember Dandelides,
Here.
Councilmember Comparoni,
Here.
Councilmember Papachek.
Here.
You have a quorum. President Rutt has requested to be excused.
I'd like to motion to excuse Support. President Rutt. Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentations, we have none on our schedule, so we'll move to call to the public. And to call to the public, each person wishing to address the village council shall be afforded an opportunity to do so. If you wish to comment, please stand and raise a hand to indicate that you wish to speak. When recognized, give your name, address, and direct your comments to the chair. And please, we'll step up to the microphone and make sure you use that so we can be heard. There is a 4-minute time limit, and these are non-agenda items. I have 3 standing, and we'll take the first one. Oh.
When you say non-agenda items, what do you mean by non-agenda?
If it shows up under our agenda, then there will be time to comment at that point, rather than now.
Okay, so is the sidewalk issue on your agenda for tonight?
Yes.
Where is it?
Public hearings.
Part of the public hearing, under item 9, yes. Yeah, it is later, so we'll have an opportunity
That's
then.
my main concern, so I
Okay,
can wait.
thank you.
On sidewalk as well.
Okay, then we'll cover that under that time, thanks. Mr. Samet?
Steve Samet, 245 East Shadbolt. I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that the compost was not picked up today by the garbage company. And so it's all sitting out there, and be nice to know if they're coming tomorrow morning or we need to put it away. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a guy in the back.
Yeah, I think we're going to, in the back, I think I'm sorry, Matt, in the back was up first.
Oh, he's better looking than me. Taller than I am.
Wasn't part of our criteria, but
Bigger than me.
Robert Reard, 328 South Broadway. I have this petition for disincorporating the village. I will be circling around. I think that everybody should sign it. All it does is puts it on the ballot for the citizens who are registered voters to be able to vote in November. So nobody should really have anything to say against it. The residents have their choice. It goes on November, it might not go through, but it should be signed. You can find me on Facebook. My name is Robert Reard, R-E-I-G-H-A-R-D, if you're interested in circulating this. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Gibb?
Good evening, everyone. Members of Council, Matthew Gibb, DDA Director. In lieu of you changing your agenda and adding a director's report at the end, I thought I'd just speak very quickly in public comment. As we all know, the water main break crisis was significant. It was resolved, as we've applauded in prior meetings, our great chief and the others that were involved. The chamber, the township, and the village DDA has come together. We're going to have a Mother's Day redo. It's going to be a week. It starts on Sunday, this Sunday the 14th. Mother's Day redo means in the township we had nearly 5,000 reservations canceled because the water main break happened at approximately 2 in the morning, and by 6 a.m. Everything was shut down. Restaurants like Sagebrush lost their entire food, and that was pretty much anybody. So restaurants were hit really significantly. It's one of the biggest days of the year for the restaurant community. So if you missed Mother's Day brunch, grab your mom and schedule brunch. Our communities around us are also promoting this because they had a boom while we were out of water. Everybody went to eat in different communities. So the supervisors and managers and others around us, from Rochester Hills to Auburn Hills to Oxford to Independence, are all promoting that next week will be Mother's Day redo. It's not just restaurants, it's also shops that took a hit. Our shops were closed as well during that time because there was a restriction on any type of water use. And so all of our shops will be open, all of our restaurants. This is a township-wide initiative, but really spearheaded by your village DDA. For DDA report, real quickly, we did go to the Planning Commission for the first step of preliminary plan unit development, preliminary plan approval, and did get a favorable motion of recommendation. We'll follow up with your good planning staff tomorrow. I was crossing my fingers that we might be able to sneak even on this agenda, but I'm sure we'll be on an agenda soon for preliminary plan, so that project is moving forward. And lastly, we had an excellent an event happen at the Lumberyard Trailhead that we're building out for the Paint Creek Trail. About 120 riders came in support of Alzheimer's research for Diane's ride. Diane is the past mother of Mike Warner, who owns the new bike shop downtown. And so Mike took it upon himself to build an event, and it turned out to be an unbelievably great event. And maybe the weather helped a little, and Diane was looking down. It really showed the potential of what we're doing down there on the south end of our downtown, and it was a lot of fun. Tomorrow afternoon is the joint meeting between the DDA and the Village Council on the ad hoc committee that was established to improve communication. And we've got lots of great things to talk about. If the public's watching, they can always get a hold of my office or a good manager and get some detail. And so that should suffice. Please don't add me to the end of your agenda because I won't stay. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Any other?
Donald Kindred here. This is going to be a little different for me, but I'd like to point the fact out that it's just been released on the internet that Reno, Nevada, not Las Vegas, but Reno, the police chief, Catherine Nance, and two assistant chiefs, Oliver Miller and Anthony Elges, were fired in May 2026. The executive team was ousted following an investigation into the allegations that high-ranking officials misrepresented or forged their mandatory state training hours and certifications. The situation began in early March when Chief Nance and 5 other command-level officers were abruptly placed on paid administrative leave. This unprecedented move prompted the city of Reno to activate an interagency agreement and bring in Wasu County Sheriff's Undersheriff Corey Solferino to act as the interim chief at that time. The administrative and state investigation supported by the Nevada Department of Public Safety and Nevada Attorney General's office focused on irregularities with police training and certification records. Reports and internal sources indicate that the executive leadership team may have falsified or improperly documented peace officer standards, and training, POST for short, hours. This is the time that they were supposed to put in and probably didn't. For example, records were flagged for indicating that Nance and members of her team had completed multiple lengthy post-required courses such as arrest and control tactics and firearms proficiency on New Year's Eve, logging stimulus multi-hour classes on single days. Determinations. After more than 2 months of administrative leave, Reno manager Jackie Bryant held a press briefing on May 12, 2026 to announce that Nance, Miller, Eglis, and Eglis were officially no longer employed by the city. The city manager fired the chief and assistant chiefs without cause, citing that they were at will employees and that the department needed to move in a new, more transparent direction. The other captains who were also placed on leave in March are part of a collective bargaining and cannot be at will terminated. Their investigations and employment statuses remain tied to administrative review. Following the termination, acting Chief Corey Solferino was moved into the permanent police chief role pending city council ratification. While the city officially terminated the top command chief or top command staff without cause. The criminal and state administrative inquiries into the forged training documents remain active. I believe, saying all of this just now, that I think it is in order that I do a little foiling and I have all of our new chief of police's information gone over and checked, because there were 8 officers out of the same area that our police chief just came from, who all had the same training. The apple don't fall far from the tree. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens.
Harry Stevens, 311 North Shore. On the garbage subject, last week, my garbage was not picked up, and I called the village, and they made arrangements for it to be picked up on Thursday. So there was raw garbage sitting outside for 3 days. Tonight, as I came to the meeting, also the compost material was not picked up. Reading in the paper, I understand there are some problems going on within Priority, and that we better watch out what's going on so that we don't get on the short end of the stick on that. Item 2, I don't know how many have read Ulysses. It's a very significant book, about 1,000 pages long. And we almost tied that this time. We had 939 pages in your packet. That is a lot of material for anybody to read. I feel sorry for you. I didn't even read it all. It was a significant document. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other call to the public? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, approval of the agenda. By order of the president or chair, no matters will be discussed after 9:30 p.m. unless the council votes to continue the meeting. Council?
I move to approve the agenda. Support.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved by one vote. I will read through the
Report.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Lamb.
Can you take down item J? One of the citizens wants to speak on it.
Item J, the municipal league
Yes.
one, okay, we'll move that down.
So I'd like to move item K.
And J and K, the correspondence. All right, Graham. All right, and we'll move those down. Do we need a vote on moving those down, or just keep?
Just a motion to
We just
approve the
approve the,
consent with the removal.
consent agenda.
So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda with the items removed.
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to approve the consent agenda items, taken items J and K into the section 8A and B.
Support.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. Now, consent agenda, item A, approval of special event, Dragon on the Lake. Item 7B, approval of special event, the Lake Orion Police Association 2026 Car Show. Item 7C, receive and file invoice distribution report for June 9th, 2026. Item D, receive and file financial statements, May 2026. Item E, receive and file Planning Commission regular meeting minutes of May 4th, 2026. Item F, receive and file May 2026 Planning and Zoning Monthly Report by McKenna. Item G, receive and file Parks and Recreation special meeting minutes of April 8th, 2026. Item 7H, receive and file Parks and Recreation regular meeting minutes of April 28th, 2026. 7I, receive and file May 2026 Police Department Activity Report. And then I'm going to jump down to, on our thing, 7E Flint Street, requesting consideration of amendments to noxious weeds ordinance. Council? I guess then we don't need another motion. We'll just go with all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Okay, items removed from consent agenda. Item J, Mr. Lamb.
I removed this item at the request of a citizen. It's our annual renewal of our Michigan Municipal League insurance coverage. The concern was raised that we have a lot of activity going on in the village-owned properties, and that there may be additional liability we may want to consider insuring for. Mr. Stevens, would you like to speak?
Harry Seaman again. With the apparent discomfort with people living around the lake who are in debate about ownership of property, and that I am anticipating that there's going to be very significant discussions, perhaps legalities that will result from this situation. And because of legalities, there is a potential of liability due to suits and things of that nature. I'm not sure if the MML policy that we have has a significant coverage for the potential exposure we may have from litigation on this subject and many other subjects that may be coming up. So I would suggest that instead of just checking off that we've got insurance for our normal needs, that maybe we need a little bit more insurance for maybe extended needs as time goes on. Thank you.
So, okay, Darwin,
Yeah.
do we, hearing Mr. Stevens' concerns, do you feel that we're adequately insured for any potential liabilities that we currently have, or do you see any current short-term liability increase that we should provide provisions for?
I don't believe we need to make any changes to our insurance coverage at this time.
And is litigation covered by insurance, or is that strictly covered by?
Litigation is covered by our insurance carrier. They will defend us in court if there is a claim for monetary damages. We do not have a claim at this time that involves monetary damages.
Any other comments?
I think we've got some potential exposure with the property inventory. I believe that we've already got some legal action against us around that. I have concerns that we have gotten adequate, I'm going to say, advice from our attorney. Does our attorney know where we are with this? In the last meeting, and I wasn't here, but I watched it live, council approved administration entering into discussion with these property owners. Does our attorney buy into that? Was that his advice? It seems a little odd to me.
Is it his advice that
Does our attorney know that we're going to enter into discussions with property owners who may have legal action against us right now without council being involved?
the only thing we're doing as part of the property inventory and mapping project is sitting down with property owners, asking them to provide us with copies of their first of all, letting us know if they believe they have any claims to property that we believe we own, and to provide copies of deeds or other evidence of ownership. And yes, our attorney is aware that we are involved in that project. That project started way before the current quiet title action, and that's what we're involved in right now, is a quiet title action.
Okay, just concerns me that we could be sitting down talking with folks who have legal action against us.
Well, I'm aware of who's involved in the quiet title action, and we are being very cautious as to how we handle that. If it's one of those plaintiffs, we need to engage or not engage in accordance with what is appropriate under the litigation.
Okay.
But that doesn't preclude us from talking to anyone else.
So my understanding then is that some residents have filed some kind of court action regarding ownership of the properties.
I would prefer not to discuss the
Okay,
details.
so there may be some litigation that we can't talk about. My understanding is you're not allowed to speak to any of the people that are litigating.
I would consult with our attorney before we would engage in any such discussions.
When is it appropriate for council to be in the loop on that?
I have talked to the village attorney on this matter. My understanding is that he is still involved in discussions with the plaintiff's legal counsel, but that he does intend to meet with the council in closed session to discuss the litigation at the appropriate time.
Okay. Any other comments, council?
I looked over, I guess I'll make a motion to,
Receive and file?
no, we have to approve this? Darrell?
Yeah.
There's two motions to this
Is
one.
this $1? I'm sorry, I got to find the packet page. Do you know which packet page you're on?
142.
142 out of 987, you said? Oh, my God.
Well, I can make that, because there's two, I'm looking at it, right? Sure, there's two motions,
I found it.
okay?
To approve, I'd like to move to approve the liability and property insurance renewal proposal of the Michigan Municipal League in the amount of $78,195 and authorize the village manager to sign the contract subject to review by the village attorney.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Because it's money, we do roll call?
Yes. Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Danielidis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And I will do the second one. Motion number 2, to authorize Clerk Treasurer Stout to complete the budget amendment BA 2026-101-851-01, increasing GL 101-851-911-000 by $1,355 for the fiscal year 2026-2027.
Support.
And we have motion and support.
So that was, so Darwin, the premium increased $4,882 this year. It's like 4%. Is that what that says?
We budgeted for 4. It actually increases between 6 and 7.
Okay, so insurance went up a lot. Okay. So that's what the budget amendment is, because
Yes.
we only
The
budgeted for the...
difference, yep.
Okay.
Okay, we have that motion, and we do roll call.
Yep. Councilmember Lamb?
Yes?
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Danielidis?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and the second item under number 8 that was removed from the consent agenda, item K, Mr. Danielidis.
Thank you. We received correspondence from resident Michael DeLuca regarding NOMO May and the associated ordinance around noxious weeds. So I believe that Mr. DeLuca is in the audience and wanted to give him opportunity to address council. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about how we get this, I guess, on an agenda or get it, get discussion and resolution, if we could, please.
Hello, I'm Michael DeLuca. I live at 206 East Flint Street. And for 2 years, Officer Hammond has visited me second week in May to give me one of those little green tags that says, we're going to fine you if you don't mow your lawn. I have been not mowing my lawn in May for quite a bit longer than 2 years as part of this no mow May thing. I'm not mindlessly doing it because the internet told me. I've read a lot and talked to experts. We've got some very smart plant people who live here, and I know many of them. My wife's a professor at OU, and so are they. I don't want to take up any more of your time than necessary. I served on the Environmental Resources Committee of Orion for 6 years, and I'm very familiar with how these meetings can stretch out. So the simplest solution to, which I mentioned in the letter and which I think George wants me to talk about here, is to change one word in the ordinance 95.37, the word May to the word June. Then by the time Officer Hammond came to my house, I would have already mowed because May would be over. So that's the very quick summation of how easy this could be. I know you all have a process for this. George, I don't know if you want me to make a spirited argument for why you should do that or sit down.
No, I think you've made your point. So I went and looked up no May, no mow May and whatnot, and it's not only in municipalities in Michigan, but I think nationwide, and the whole thing is supporting the bee population and other insects and whatnot. So it just sounded like what Mr. DeLuca was requesting sounded reasonable, and my real question is, so what is our process to look at this and come up with a recommendation for an ordinance change, which would allow it?
If the council is interested in considering making a change for enforcement from May 1st to June 1st, the council simply needs to tell us that you're interested in seeing that change, and we can prepare the necessary ordinance. That's a very simple ordinance amendment. One of the things you will want to take into consideration is that depending on the weather, lawns and yards can grow extremely tall during that month of May. I know that in this particular instance, as Mr. DeLuca had mentioned, there's been enforcement action for the past 2 years on his property. The chief can probably speak more to that than I can, but there are considerations that need to be made for surrounding property owners. The aesthetics of properties that are allowed to grow through the month of May, they can get, the grass and weeds can get tall. And other plants that I completely agree are beneficial to the environment and to habitat. But we have to weigh environmental benefits with the concerns of surrounding property owners and what their feelings are in this. So I would hope that the council would authorize us to look into it further, but only after engagement also by the public, making sure that the public is aware of any changes you want to make to the ordinance, so that we can get input from citizens as to whether they think this is a good idea or not. Personally, I tend to support it with some caveats, and that is that we don't allow properties to get out of hand or become a nuisance. But I applaud Mr. DeLuca for his concerns about pollinating insects and what have you. So we're more than happy to look into it if the council is interested in having us look into it further.
So if we made a motion to do that, have him come up with that
Yeah, I mean,
change.
how's everybody feel? I don't know.
I'll speak, or Eric got his hand up first.
No, I think it's worth talking about a little more. I think there's always two sides to every coin, right? I know that some people would say planting native flowers might do the same thing to help the bee population, and maybe neighbors are concerned. You know, you hear a lot about ticks this time of year, ticks or rodents. I don't know. I haven't read up enough to understand the downside, but I'd like to know a little bit more rather than it just doesn't look pleasant to somebody. Maybe there's something else to it there, but I think something we could talk about. I don't get the sense that it's, you know, half the properties are doing this. I don't think the village looks, you know, I haven't seen the properties, so I haven't noticed a bad look or anything, so it doesn't seem to impact me, but I'm not, you know, living right down the street or next to it either.
Mr. Lamb?
I don't have any problem with a homeowner who wants to do something special with his yard for a certain time. I've received many, many, many noxious weed tickets and mowing tickets because of my business. We own vacant property, and it costs a lot of money to mow. So we're the evil ones. I would recommend not changing the ordinance. The problem with people abuse powers. I wouldn't be adverse to looking into, instead of modifying the ordinance to allow, that we modify find some mechanism that people want to honor a particular methodology or whatever, might get a waiver, apply for a waiver for a certain period of time, to honor a specific religious holiday or green month. But having been cutting grass for my entire life, I don't want my neighbors to arbitrarily open the door for anyone who doesn't want to mow their grass to not mow it. That's the caveat to the whole request. Requests are genuine, the requests are nice, but I don't live in the country, I live in the city. So I think if we go ahead and look into this, we should add the knotweeds to our noxious ordinances, like the township did. We should maybe increase some of the plants onto this thing. And then I think we should look at, special provisions for, gardens and butterfly things and bee things, as opposed to just allowing, people to not mow their grass in the spring. This year was very, very cold. Everything came out very, very late and very, very slow. We've had other years where the weeds were knee deep, so that's just my comment. I'd make a motion
I think it's my one thought. You said something too. I don't know that I want to open it up to anything, but in the case of May being what it is, it's already designated to help with enforcement. I don't know if it would help to have, so let us know type of thing. We need to know that it's being done for a reason and not just being let go. So if a motion to have an administration look into, how we might do that.
Yeah, how we might provide.
How might we provide the wording for that so that our enforcement officer knows what's going on with that particular property?
I think one of the municipalities that I looked at today, I think their process was you got a permit, and I think part of that permit was a specific sign that said no mow May, and so it identified what was going on. But I think that'd be part of the investigation and part of a recommendation.
Yeah, and what that permit entails. Does it entail permission from neighbors, or at least letting them know?
So I'm hearing is the motion would say something for the village manager to investigate a possible potential permitting process related to the noxious weed ordinance that might permit citizens to engage in supporting the May initiative. How's that? That's enough?
Council, that sound all right?
Yep.
Then is that,
I'll support.
is it worded well enough Sonia, for you to,
Okay, so investigate a potential permit process to noxious weed ordinance. What was the second half?
If I could repeat it, I would.
To support the no mow May
Okay,
efforts.
We can always pull the recording and, you know,
you got talking to your mic.
we could always listen later.
Thank you. Yes, so Lamb and then data lead a second? Okay.
all right. Well,
Just, I'm curious, the chief's input. I don't know if there's anything to add or from your perspective.
So, as chief of police, I have the fortunate responsibility of overseeing code enforcement, so thank you for that. The one thing I want to say is I'm not a botanist by any means, but I did some research on this case once I saw it on the agenda and once I got the emails from Mr. DeLuca. First of all, this case is closed in compliance, and there was no enforcement action taken this year or last year. It was a courtesy notice, which was complied with. And second of all, there seems like there's two separate conversations going on here, so we need to clarify. Mr. DeLuca said the no mow May, which is the grass regulations, and then we're also diving into noxious weeds, which is a separate issue. My stance on this is I will support anything that's approved by council or within the ordinance, but the village can support native and pollinator-friendly landscaping. However, we still need to require reasonable landscape standards, such as overgrowth and growing onto sidewalks and all that. What I will say is every single courtesy notice or enforcement action on this particular property was generated through neighbor complaints, numerous neighbor complaints. It was not self-generated by our department. We were responding to complaints that kept coming into our office. So just take that into consideration as well.
and would our motion allow us to look into, having that as, like I said, having neighbors notified as part of the research that you bring back to us?
Once we bring something back and the council has indicated that it is a mechanism that you feel comfortable with, then we would talk about next steps on how we engage citizens, engage the public in the process of providing feedback to us before council makes a final decision.
And that would probably, items that would be included on a application. That second phase would include items we put on the application as far as notification, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not sure what you're
Well,
asking.
I think the motion as stands is good enough for now, and then when we come back with that, then we can have further discussion on it.
It'll come back as an agenda item. The council will review what we have, what our findings are and what we may recommend
Yes.
as a solution. And then, once the council feels comfortable with what we have come up with, we can then provide public notice on what the intention of the council is to, as far as action on the matter, and provide an opportunity for citizens to come in and provide input to council.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, council?
I was just going to say, so I really didn't know anything about this until you sent me the email. So you probably are aware of what other communities may have done, and if there's anything that you're aware of that other communities have done that have worked, perhaps you can provide that to Darwin as, as an example or something.
I'd be happy to. I'm going to go research some more. But thank you all very much for taking this up. This is more the response than I was expecting, so government is working. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one statement's all I have. Of course, I'm an old man, and I think it's totally ridiculous. We're surrounded by thousands of acres of state land, unmolested state land, and the bees love that. They can go there. Pretty simple.
Love you, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, we do have a motion on the floor, and we'll do a vote. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
And do we need to motion to receive and file that?
Yes, we will need to receive
Okay.
and file that one as well.
I'll make the motion to receive and file the correspondence.
Support? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have one opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 9, public hearings. Hearing on proposed special assessment roll sidewalk improvement program. Do we just open that up as is now, or do we need a motion to?
Your Honor, if I could give a little
Yep.
bit of background, and then the council, at your desire, can open the public hearing.
Okay.
But just for the information of the public, Village Council is scheduled to conduct a hearing to receive comments and objections to the proposed special assessment roll for the Village of Lake Orion Sidewalk Improvement Program, or SWIP 2026 District Number 2 project. The proposed special assessment roll is based on the unit prices contained in the third low bid to ensure that the special assessment numbers would be equal to or greater than the final assessments to avoid duplication of the special assessment hearing process. Since that time, we have received public bids. Our engineers have determined that the low bidder is the low responsible bidder, and has recommended that if we move along with the project, the engineer recommends that we contract with the low bidder. That is good news for us, because we had originally estimated this project to cost somewhere around $62,000. We revised the special assessments for the public hearing at the $50-some thousand number, which would be the third low bid. But the actual low bid is going to be $43,411.93, which means that the dollar amounts that we sent out to the affected property owners for their special assessments is going to be somewhat lower than what we had informed them of. We provided you with the revised special assessment roll tonight, which is based on the low bidder numbers. The project involves the removal and replacement of deficient sidewalk slabs abutting within the district, with the property owners responsible for the costs associated with the improvements. In addition, any deficient sidewalk, handicapped accessible ramps will be removed and replaced at the village's cost. There are also some properties that the village owns or is responsible for that we have to pay for those sidewalk improvements. Sidewalks near the apartments on Atwater Street, the Atwater Park, there's some sidewalk there that the village is responsible for. So the village itself is a party to these special assessments. Costs of sidewalks abutting private property will be specially assessed against those benefiting properties, with special assessments to be spread over up to 3 years in minimum $500 increments. The balance of assessments not paid in full in the first year will be subject to interest at a rate of 6% per annum. Property owners may pay their assessments in full by the 2026 summer tax due date and incur no interest costs. Property owners may also opt out of the village's improvement program by notifying the village in writing that deadline was today, and completing the repairs themselves in accordance with village engineering design and construction standards by the deadline established by the village. But those property owners would need to pull and pay for individual permits and arrange and pay for inspections. And then I explained to you that the assessments are actually going to be lower because our engineers have certified the low bid. Your Honor, at this time, I would recommend that council open the public hearing on the 2026 Sidewalk Improvement Program, District Number 2, proposed special assessment roll.
I will make that motion to open the public hearing on the 2026 Sidewalk Improvement Program, District Number 2, proposed special assessment.
Second.
We have motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are open to the public. Yes, sir.
I'm not shy about stepping up.
That's
William
right.
Baldwin, 504 Atwater Street. I have to be honest with you, I don't open a lot of the village mail that comes from you guys. I really don't, because I've lived there 10 years, and in my 10 years there, this village is, I've seen so much nonsense go on here, it's ridiculous. So when I saw that, it kind of bothered me a little bit, because I took the time to go to the county to get my plat and have my lot surveyed. I own from my back fence up to the public sidewalk. That's what I pay taxes on. I do not understand why in the world you would think that I would pay for repairs of a public sidewalk that was installed by whatever contractor you guys, the village, paid to have installed. Now, I know there are ordinances, as I was talking to my neighbor, it's certain laws and ordinances about maintaining your sidewalk. Maintaining means shoveling, sweeping off, things like that. Maintaining and repairing, two different items. So I would never expect to have to pay for a piece of sidewalk in my house, okay? Now, I took the time to walk, and since I was in here last week, found out that you guys were not addressing it to this week, so I took the time to ride my bike and walk throughout the entire village and look and see where you had, places you had marked. The portion you have marked in front of my house, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the piece of sidewalk. The only thing that's wrong with it is it's sunk down about a ½ inch lower than the two surrounding ones. Now, as I walk down and throughout, you have pieces marked all over the place, yet you've walked past pieces that are chunked and broke and ignored like they don't exist. True repairs need to be done, okay? Then I took the time to go back to my property and I walked in other places besides my property. I walked my street from one end of my lot to the other. My phone is about dead, or I'd show you all the videos that I've taken, but I like to take the time to step up and show you guys each and every one of these pictures, okay? This is directly in my driveway. This is the street curb, it's damaged. That's a 14-inch piece of rerock sticking out of the ground. It's raised up 3 inches. Okay? Would you like that in your driveway? Would you like that to pull up and lay that in your driveway? Okay? Just so you know how deep it is, that's my foot underneath. That's how high it's raised. Okay? So. All right. So in fact, someone could, myself or someone could pull in my driveway, back in my driveway, and that could rupture their tire. Or a child could be walking, fall, catch your foot on that, trip and fall and be damned and be hurt. Now that, that along with all the other damage along the street side curb, the problems with our road on Atwater should be addressed first, okay? That's not that's our taxpayer, our tax dollars should go more than some of the items that you guys are addressing now, okay? I've listened in a couple of meetings where you guys are addressing all types of issues to generate revenue, and you're allowing things to come into our village. For instance, the dispensary that was approved years ago, okay? You guys approved that dispensary because you're generating revenue on that. Why isn't that revenue being used to do these repairs? Why are these costs being put on our village residents, okay? Because now people our bike paths, nice bike paths, but it's so convenient for people to buy their marijuana, walk right behind there and sit on the benches on the bike path and smoke their marijuana now, okay, in public, which I've also called in the past. New chief, I haven't met him yet, I haven't talked to him, but I have a pretty decent relationship with a few officers. I've talked to a few of them. I think our police department, I think we have a good police department. I think they care about their jobs, I think they do a good job. But I made a call one night about a guy and a girl coming down my sidewalk, smoking weed Like, literally, they're laughing and joking and talking, and I politely asked them to put it out, which they ignored me. I called the police, they didn't respond. I know I'm getting off subject.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I am. But my point is, you guys are coming after village residents for dollars out of our pockets when we already pay a ridiculous amount for our taxes. My village taxes have went up 300% in 10 years. 300% in 10 years. My water bills went up 73% in those 10 years. These costs are ridiculous. Now, if we're gonna play that game to where you're gonna come and you're gonna pick certain, and I feel like you guys went and you try to pick a little bit with every resident, so it didn't look like somebody, only certain residents were having to pay and not everybody, okay? But if we're gonna play that game, then how about I get a contractor to come out and price our road to see what it's gonna cost to repair Atwater the right way. Then install speed bumps to slow down the speeding that comes down there consistently, ridiculously consistently. And then I'll submit that bill to you guys, and you guys can pay for that, okay? We can go back and forth about this all day long, but there's a lot of things that are being ignored, and you're putting things on village residents here that it's petty. It's literally petty shit. And I mean, that's it. My house happens to, I took this up with Joe when Joe was the manager here. Years ago, whoever installed that road, and I happen to know this because my brother-in-law is an engineer for a huge roads company. He came and looked at, poorly engineered. So that road, you
I
did
do
not
want to keep
install.
it on the sidewalks, because that's what the hearing is.
Okay,
So-
okay, but this
and I think
all
you-
has to do, it all ties into it.
Well,
Those
I understand.
sidewalks are connected to everything else. But my yard floods out. I get 4.5 inches of water in my driveway, in my garage, because it floods out, okay? Over and over. You do not have the proper amount of sewage system, the storm drains in there to handle that. That's what's causing these damages. That's why you're seeing properties like mine where it's sunk a little bit, and these sidewalls have sunk a little bit, is because they're poorly designed and the rain is flooding out the property. And when the properties get wet, what happens to cement? It starts sinking. It sinks, gets unlevel, starts cracking and breaking. So those are things that need to be addressed before you start billing village residents money to fix a piece of cement in their front yard that they didn't install.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Good evening, council members. My name is Christopher Cook. I am the owner of 537 Atwater, where I have been a taxpaying resident for 23 years. I'm here tonight to submit a formal objection to the special tax assessment that has been presented to me for replacement of a section of sidewalk in front of my property. Approximately 10-15 years ago, a portion of my sidewalk was removed by the village. I'm assuming that it was for underground work, utility work, sewers, water, gas, something of that nature, shared by all of us. And as a concerned property owner, I did approach the contractors or the village workers at that time and ask, is this going to be fixed? They said yes. I thought nothing of it. Based on that understanding, I had no reason to believe that I would one day, 10 years later, be asked to fit the bill for the repair, especially at a time in this country where the taxes are through the roof. Cost of living is through the roof. This would have been cheaper for me 10 years ago and maybe something I could have partaken in easily. That is not the case. I respectfully ask the council to consider the following questions. What specific project resulted in the removal of the sidewalk in front of my property? Are there records showing who authorized that removal, whether restoration was planned or as a part of a project? Is the sidewalk that was removed for public infrastructure project? Why was it not restored when the project was completed? Why is the village seeking to assess the cost against me now, approximately 10 years later, as I've already previously stated? What distinguishes this situation from one in which a sidewalk simply deteriorated through age or neglect? I've been a resident and taxpayer in this community for 2 decades. I like to think that I'm a responsible owner and a good member of the community and a good neighbor. On a more of a personal note, I'm a nurse. I'm one income in my house. I have a 900 square foot home. It's tiny. I can barely make ends meet anymore. This bill is asking me for $2,000. It says that I'm responsible for 150 square feet of sidewalk, which with my small 900 square foot home, I can't even imagine how much sidewalk that is. You know, negating the one that was, the part of the sidewalk that was removed by the village. As this gentleman over here just stated earlier, the cost is now going to be around somewhere for $42,000 for the entire community, and I'm going to be responsible for $2,000 of that? I mean, seriously, I can barely make ends meet. So I thank you for your time and letting me speak and hearing me.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Whelan. I live at 674 Orion Road.
Sorry, Nick. Is it Nick?
Nicholas Whelan. Yep, Nick.
What's your address, please?
674 Orion Road.
That thing's loud.
So originally, I was told when these letters first came out that I only had to repair 3 patches of sidewalk, which I'm assuming are 25 square feet, correct, per section? What's that?
You want to talk to Wes?
Okay.
3 flags.
And I'm assuming you're the one in charge of Xing them out? What was your address? 674 Orion Road.
It takes a while to do that. I didn't know you were presenting.
Which is fine. How many pictures does it show on there for you? Okay. 3. Okay, I had 5 of them X'd out. So I was a little.
There's a broken one there.
Yeah, cracked one. Yep. Which I've seen probably about 30 of those in District Number 2. That one, yep, those 2 need to be replaced, and I'm totally okay with that for liability reasons. Because once again, if somebody trips, falls, or riding their bike or scooter falls on that sidewalk, I'm liable, correct? Right?
Well,
Who gets sued? Who gets sued? You or me?
Legal questions, but
Okay. Since I'm liable for repairing them. But like I said, there was a total of 5 X'd out.
It looks like they marked the other 2 for heaving or probably the skip.
Okay. So how do I go about where you guys say that's not a necessary pad to be replaced? There are 2 that 100% are dipping down, need to be replaced. And I'm going to do that myself, by the way. So 674, we can take off that. I just want to get that 3rd one with the crack. Stuff like that can be patched up with self-leveling cement caulk. There's ways to make that safe. Those are the 2 that need to be replaced. And I plan on replacing those. But I have pictures on my phone, just like the other gentleman, where you guys X'd out 2 of them where nothing was wrong. There was a scratch on one, not a crack, a scratch. And now I have purple spray paint on it. So I don't know. How does that work? Am I supposed to take those ones out? Like I said, I could walk you around and show you 100 more that were worse than mine that weren't X'd out. So I don't know if you have to come by and be like, all right, this one doesn't need to be replaced, this one does. And if I do replace it, do you guys come inspect it afterwards and say, all right, you're good to go, we're not going to fine you, we're not going to send you this bill for $825? Because I can repair the 2 that need to be repaired for less than that, since it's my property. And I feel like I should have some say in that. That can be caulked and patched. Those cannot, because those two are dipping too much as well, which is a trip hazard. I'm okay with replacing those. But like I said, you could walk around the village and find about, 1,000 of them that look like the other ones. Those two, I agree, they need to be replaced. And you can't really see in the picture, they're dipping down quite a bit, so they are a trip hazard. Yeah. How many? 652. Jesus. Okay, yeah. So you know what I'm saying. But I know they're doing sections at a time. So, I mean, there's some right outside that need to be done. Right. But I'm saying you guys destroyed a pad of my concrete that did not need to be replaced. There is one 100% that no reason it should have been X'd. There is a scratch on it from me backing up my boat trailer, but I power washed that and it came right up. But I couldn't get that pink X up. And it didn't. Once again, you have 3 pictures, so there's 3 slabs that needed to be replaced, but yet you guys X5. So I'm just a little confused on that.
Just for clarification, there are only 3 flags of sidewalk that we've identified for your property
Correct.
that need to be replaced.
But there's 5 pink permanent
There's only
X's.
three flags of sidewalk that need to be replaced. Wes can meet with you to identify, to verify for you.
Yeah,
which
and I would
ones
have just
need to be
liked maybe a
replaced.
quick, simple knock on the door. Hey, we're gonna spray your sidewalk. Let's make sure these are the 3 that we identified. And apparently you identified 5 and didn't go back to the first paperwork that said 3 initially in the beginning. So I was just confused why 5 were Xed out. But you can see it right there, 5 slabs. But this piece of paper says 75 square feet, which is 3 slabs. So are you guys gonna take out the 5 and charge me for 3? I'm cool with that too, but I have a feeling that's not how it's gonna go.
We can only assess you for 3 because that's what the public hearing
Right.
notice.
So what are the X's for? Is that for the company that goes around that's gonna replace them and repair them? Or replace them, right?
You would need to talk to the Public Works Director. I'm not sure that those were even our markings, so.
The pink ones?
Yeah, you would need
Those
to.
not your
you
marking?
know,
Our engineers went behind us out this last week to put X's on all the flags that were to be replaced. I can't verify right here, right now, that she missed them or mismarked some.
Okay.
I'd have to look.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But we can figure out a solution to maybe fix the sidewalks that were wrongly flagged. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I want to state for record, I'm going to do them myself, the 3. And then I don't know who I would speak to about the 3rd one potentially that doesn't need to be done. But like I said, the 2 for sure need to be taken out and replaced. I'm cool with doing that. So if that can be approved or not.
Your Honor.
Okay, yeah.
And he brings up a very good point. So we put a deadline of today for property owners to let us know if they want to be removed from the sidewalk improvement project and to replace their sidewalk flags on their own. It is well within their right to do that. And we can, as part of your motion tonight, when you approve the special assessment roll, you can remove 674 Orion Road from the special assessment roll with the understanding that the property owner will be required to replace the sidewalk flags that we've identified as needing replacement, in which case you would pull the permits on your own, have the work done on your own, call for an inspection of the work after it's completed.
Through the city, through the village? Through the village, okay.
And just for clarification, because I don't know what number was in your notice, but just for your information, the assessment ended up being, because we're going with the low bid, it's $759.75.
For the
For
3
3
slabs? Okay, then mine says 825. So that wasn't the official number, that was the
That
proposed
was
number?
not the official number, that was our estimate.
Okay. And then, like I said, I think two pieces of sidewalk, were misflagged. So if we could get a secondary inspection through the village or your engineers, that'd be awesome. And then maybe some notice beforehand. That way I'm there. So I appreciate it. All right, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sorry, just saw that you had this available. Could you show my home,
Okay.
537 Atwater? Thank you.
This is the missing piece.
So that's clearly not due to dilapidation or time or lack of my care. That's clearly professionally removed. I didn't do it. Why should I be assessed the cost of fixing it? This is my question.
Your Honor, we will have further discussions with this property owner, and we will try to determine what work may have been done at that location. If we do determine that it was village work that was done, utility work or what have you, we would work with the property owner to have that flag of sidewalk removed from the special assessment roll.
Thank you.
I guess my only concern in not knowing exactly what notifications they got but my concern is the accuracy of the notifications. If we have extra slabs marked, I assume the last gentleman, you said he had 5 slabs marked, but only 3 were on the roll. But you can see he misread that, obviously, because he had 5 marked.
Yes, and I'm not sure, Wes, what is being referred to when the property owner talked about 5 flags of sidewalk being marked, or who may have marked those additional flags. I can only tell you that our special assessment roll only called for 3 flags to be removed and replaced, and that's what's included in this project.
Right, and my concern is just the accuracy of it and the homeowners knowing exactly what they're going to be assessed.
And I believe that's the purpose of the special assessment. If there are those mistakes or concerns, we can get them addressed now before the project moves forward.
So the third motion here then, I mean, is to move the project forward, but then is that where the accuracy would be addressed?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
In the third motion that we have in front of us, if we move forward with this, I want to make sure that we're moving forward with accurate numbers.
The council can remove any properties from the special assessment roll and from the project if you wish to do so, as part of that third motion.
And then, but I guess my question is, how do we know? You know,
Stan.
Yeah.
May I speak?
Yeah.
This is the assessment roll, and there's 3 homeowners who showed up to challenge, question, or the accuracy and veracity of the sidewalk.
So we would,
So I'm assuming that the other people were noticed, and they're in agreement. This is kind of like the road assessment SAD we went through. So the 3 concerned homeowners here have brought up their concerns, and we're going to address them, because that's what the hearing's for. But as far as the accuracy of all the rest of this stuff, I assume it's accurate because no one's complaining.
The majority of the sidewalks in that district, though, are owned by the 2 apartments as well. So
Yeah,
let's
so
say
Darwin
30%
said,
of these sidewalks in this district too are.
Darwin said if we approve payment for 3 flags here, they could only be charged with 3 flags.
okay.
So if they marked a lot more flags, the village is on the hook. I'm just trying to move this forward.
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
fine. Yep, I get it.
If I may add to that really briefly, we did also receive another notice from somebody who wanted to add flags. They said they're going to get some new ones, and some looked ugly, and they want more done than what was proposed by us. So.
Okay.
If I had known you had this, I would have brought this up earlier. So earlier when I strayed, we had the conversation about the roads and about the flooding. This is a perfect example. You see the sidewalk on my property you have marked? Okay, right there is the storm sewer, which floods over. All the water floods down into my yard. That's why that piece of cement is sinking down the ground, because there's not proper storm sewers on that street. That's what's causing that piece of cement to sink right there. You can see the edge of the storm sewer right there. Can you not? See the On the right side of that picture right there, that's the storm sewer. So that's what's causing the damage there. So because you guys do not have proper storm sewer system in there, and it causes my property, and when I said my property floods out, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I get 4.5 to 5 inches of water in my driveway when it floods out. Joe, you guys came out and you put a drain across there, which worked for the first year, and now that drain is filled in, and it does the same thing, it floods over and over. So the whole right side of that picture, right there, midway in that picture, that's part of the storm, that's where the storm sewer is. That's the cement for the storm sewer that wraps around, the storm sewer sinks back in there. And it's because all of that floods overflows, the water doesn't go down in the storm sewer, it all goes on that cement and underneath that cement.
Stan? Okay. Can I ask Darwin, as a public hearing, they're supposed to speak, but if a tree jacks up a sidewalk in one of the city's street trees, who pays for the sidewalk?
The property owner.
If some lack of maintenance issue on our part causes the sidewalk to fail, who pays for the sidewalk?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm saying, so as if
He's trying to point a finger.
say a manhole collapses, so quite often in the streets, the garbage trucks drive over the manholes because they're right next to the curb, and this causes the brick and mortar joints around the manholes to deteriorate, and then the water seeps in from underneath the pavement and curb, and the water and sand goes into the manhole. It creates a void underneath the pavement, and the weight of the trucks causes the curbs to crush. All right, so if a sidewalk such as this is being undermined because of some problem caused by the village, whose responsibility is it to pay?
If it's caused by the village, then the village should be responsible for it.
Okay, so the homeowners made the allegation that the village has caused this particular sidewalk to settle. How do we resolve his question at the public hearing before I decide to charge him for it?
I would recommend that you keep this particular repair on the special assessment, the proposed special assessment roll. We can have our engineer take a look at it. It looks like, I'm not an engineer,
So if we make the
but
special assessment and then it's determined after this meeting that it's our responsibility, then we don't have to charge him?
we don't have to charge them. I will, if we determine it was a village-caused issue, I will make that correction myself, and we will pay for that repair.
Sir, does that meet your,
Right, so if I can get this, I could actually show you, when it flooded over, I can actually show you that portion.
no, we can let that go
Okay.
on for the staff. So
Okay.
will that meet your, will that satisfy you for now?
I mean,
we
bottom line,
determine-
I'll tell you guys bottom line, I'm not paying for that. I don't care what you guys do, I'm not paying for it.
So we're going to leave that up to, so we're going to go, in my opinion, we're going to go ahead and approve this assessment roll, and if they decide that you can convince them that it was our fault, then they're not going to charge you for it. And I think that's
Okay.
fair.
So then I would, how would I, so if I show up and I show you a video of 4 inches of water over top of that cement?
You can work it out with them.
Okay.
We can't decide
Okay.
that because that's not our job, is not to
But
make
the
that.
village manager said if we have the engineer come out and take a look at it and make a determination.
Okay.
So we'll leave it off of the assessment now, and then we'll have an engineer.
No, it stays on.
Well, I'm sorry,
But yeah,
it stays on, but the repair won't happen until we have an engineer look at it. Is
Okay.
that correct?
We will take a look at
Okay.
it. It'll stay on if the council makes the if the council approves the special assessment roll with this property included, we will take a look at it. We will make a determination as to whether or not the village is responsible for that or not. If administration has determined that the village is not responsible for that, it will move forward as part of this project and will be specially assessed against the property. If we determine that the village is responsible, the village will cover the cost of that flag of sidewalk.
And the same is the case for the other gentleman who said we stole his sidewalk.
Yes. If we can determine that the village did some type of utility repair and we remove that flag of sidewalk, the village should be responsible for paying the cost of replacing it, period.
Stan?
Yes.
Just a question or a comment I'm picking up on from reading through some of the emails too. I think part of the concern is some of these sidewalk segments have lifted up. Maybe it's because of tree roots, maybe there's flooding, there's some underlying cause. I think I saw in the quote that some of the tree roots will be cut out to help try to alleviate that. I think some of the concern by residents would be this is just going to happen again and I'm going to have to pay for a new sidewalk in 2 years, every 2 years when this reoccurs. But so I'm trying to understand, what are they, so fixing drainage, fixing tree roots, that's part of the scope of this, so that we get a feel that the sidewalk, or is that not?
Fixing drainage, removing trees is not part of this project unless the tree is posing a safety hazard. If it's dead, diseased, if it's a threat of falling over, then we need to address that.
Okay.
Otherwise, the position of the village is, at this point, that we don't remove trees. We try to promote tree canopies, not remove them. Simply because people don't like them near their sidewalks.
Yeah, I thought it said something about just cutting out a section of the tree root, right, not removing the tree.
That is a normal practice, to remove part of the tree root so that we can properly replace the sidewalk. And that's looked at on a case-by-case basis to make sure we're not doing permanent damage to the tree. That's going to cause it at some point to die and become a safety hazard. But removing trees, correcting drainage, that's not part of the sidewalk program. For one thing, it takes a much more detailed analysis to determine what is causing drainage problems. It's not a matter usually of just the catch basin. It's a matter of the topography and how that figures into how water runs off, where it runs off to. I know that at Newton and Atwater, there is a serious drainage problem that is an historical problem. The water used to run through the backyards of those properties along Newton, right off Atwater. And then as those properties built up, it became a problem. Now the water tends to run down Newton and then runs off to the west side of the street and back down along the homes and behind the homes. So we're aware of that problem. We've been involved in discussions with property owners along there. But as I inform them, any comprehensive drainage improvements would probably require a special assessment district to take care of. Because it's not the village causing that problem, it's the natural drainage. And we do want to help them, but it would be the property owner's responsibility to pay for any improvements to their properties.
Okay. And I think people would probably want to know too, do you have a sense for how old the existing sidewalks are in this zone? You know, like I would want to kind of know, once a new sidewalk is there, is it 5 or 10, 20 years? 2014? Okay. Yeah, just trying to get a sense that, how long does a new sidewalk last you? I don't know. I guess it depends section by section, but hopefully, you know, just for the people, hopefully there's not a recurring issue on some of this.
No guarantees on concrete work.
Yeah.
Except in municipal.
2 years.
Except in municipal.
Under our contract,
Except in
2
municipal.
years.
they have to guarantee it for 2 years.
So the motion as stated, do we need to include the property owners that were here as part of that motion? And
Yeah, we can get to that. I know what to say.
okay. Any other public comments?
so.
We're gonna continue on with the public hearing, so I'm gonna get this part done, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
So,
Shall I
thank you.
move to close the public hearing?
Support?
Yeah, any other? Yes.
Charles Larnard, 244 North Broadway.
I'm sorry, I've said
244 North Broadway. It's just in regards to the sidewalk assessment. The section in front of my house looks like it is the large sycamore tree that's probably undermined it. My only concern was damage to the tree root itself, and to the surrounding landscape. Will they take caution when they're doing this, or am I looking at having all my perennials damaged by them?
Is that 244 North Broadway?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you have a video?
It's the one across the street.
yeah.
Oh, the tree?
The
right-
tree root
Right over here?
caused it, so the process of fixing that slab is gonna require what?
Probably cutting off that section of root. Fortunately, the roots are vast,
Yeah.
systems as big as the canopies, so we should.
You realize that'll probably kill the tree then, in the long run. I mean, that is usually the end game.
And is there a difference because of where the tree is located? Because that's between the street and the sidewalk versus completely on his property.
Correct.
So,
You went with the lowest bidder, so I'm sure they won't put much effort into this. You could actually probably raise that section of sidewalk rather than just break it up and cut the tree roots and make it look nice. They could probably put more effort into it, is my point.
The only thing I can say, Your Honor, is that we followed the specifications that our engineer puts forward.
So so there's, in my experience, just since we're having a nice chat, and I've killed a lot of trees, and I put in miles and miles of sidewalks. There's only two real choices, okay? One is, leave the sidewalk alone, or you got to get the tree out from under the sidewalk somehow. So
You
the
could
only way to do that is
probably fix it by some other means. I'm just saying that we talk about this harmony with the village and how pretty it is. You all know what that is, so.
Do we want to,
I mean, you'll kill
pay
that
for a
tree in the end.
Do we want to pay to gerrymander the sidewalk out of the right-of-way or through his yard? You know what I'm talking about, right? When they run the sidewalk around, is that something?
a curve.
Is that something that,
You're talking about an easement to run sidewalk on his property around the tree?
Yeah, that would never work.
that wouldn't work out, right?
No.
Okay, so we can't guarantee the tree will live then? These are questions I'm asking you.
The only thing I can tell you is the engineer would not recommend the
Do we have a
work that
picture?
they're recommending
I'd
if
love
they
to see
felt that it was going to damage the tree.
Is that the tree you and I walked through?
Yeah, it's right across the street from my house.
Yeah, we rubbernecked that tree, remember? You tripped on that.
We'll have Wes pull it up so everybody can take a look.
You got it.
Yeah.
District 1, hang on one second.
Don't you let it get like that, Stan? And you walk on it. Don't you walk on that side of the road? You don't walk on this side of the street?
My dog waters it every day.
I'm seeing,
District 1.
This was a good idea. I voted to pay for this program 3-4 years ago. Three taxes.
I believe it's right here. This one. That's the one.
My grandson would call that a jump.
it's Quite substantial.
Fun stuff.
And streets on the left, properties
Correct.
on the right. So that tree takes up that whole space.
Yeah, it's a big tree, so, you know, I assume if they repair the sidewalk, that in a few years it'll pop up again. But the sidewalk, to me, looks like it needs to be repaired.
Sure. No one's
So-
questioning that.
I mean,
His concern is the tree.
I
Yeah, I
believe
mean-
he wants to bring the other side up to match it,
Yep.
kind of make a slope.
More gradual slope and
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're supposed to maintain 4 inches of base under the sidewalk, right, Wes?
Yes.
So they have to, you know, cut down 4 inches or so. So what do you want us to do?
Not kill the tree and destroy my landscaping on the side in the process.
Yeah,
There's big, beautiful hostas that are, who knows how old those are. Those are beautiful. And knowing what concrete work is,
well, it doesn't look, I mean, I think they could replace the sidewalk without killing the tree and destroying your yard. It
that's
does
just
need to
my
be.
concern.
I'm more than happy to ask them to give that. you know,
special
I
consideration.
mean, we're talking about protecting the weeds in May. I think we could ask them to try and be careful with your tree. That's all we could do.
Okay. How about the irrigation system if they get into that?
I'd stand out there if it was me, I'd be out there all day watching.
Do we know when this is slated to?
Not-
Within the next 30, we'd have to confer with the contractor.
Yeah, I'm not in charge. I'm in charge of the building department, I'm so sorry, sir. It's,
Okay.
If things roll through as is, when would the repairs start?
Wait, we've got one
Oh,
question.
yeah. Harry, just a minute. I'm going to see if Darwin has a, yep.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got that note down.
Okay. So if things progress tonight, when would we expect things to get started?
We have not determined a timeline with the contractor yet. The contractor's bid is good for 90 days from the bid opening date. But the work would commence as soon as the contractor is available to come in and start work. We just know that we try to do these projects during the summer months. So
The
before-
contractor's aware of,
Before school starts if possible.
and the contractor's aware of tree issues, and they're aware of irrigation issues from,
Well, they will mark we'll do a mist dig and stuff, but if there's irrigation systems that we're not aware of and that are not marked, and if they are in the road right-of-way, we are not responsible for those.
if they're in the right of way.
Excuse me. Sir, did you hear the manager's comments?
Yeah.
He said you should mark.
and better.
Well, you should try to mark your sprinklers, if you possibly could.
That's easy to do.
Okay, that would help with them not to.
mean they won't cut them.
We'll think that we're going to make sure you're taken care of. You came here, took the time to come here. I want to make sure they put a note in for you, okay?
Harry?
I asked Wes to leave that picture up. Looking at that picture, it looks like it's a trip zone
Yes.
there. And I've seen in many communities where you have that they are using localized milling to remove the trip zone. And I think in some situations, we ought to look at that. The flag doesn't look like it's cracked or anything like that, but it's obviously a trip. And with milling of the edges there where the trip zone is, you no longer have a trip point.
Well,
And so I think, if the flag itself is solid, that use of a milling machine, and I don't, do we have one, Wes?
We've done that here
It's
many
already been
times.
done once.
Yeah, it's been
Okay,
done
it's
two
done
or
some
three
of it
times.
there,
Yeah.
just wonder if more of it could be done to avoid the danger of the trip zone. Thanks.
Thank you. So we've made a note on this one too for engineers' purposes? Okay. Any other public comment for the public hearing?
I just have a quick one. Since we're talking about the roads and the sidewalks, is there any way we could do something about the boat launch? It has two massive potholes when you're going down the roundabout of the boat launch. Okay, because I know you guys have one of the trucks for the asphalt. Okay, all right, cool, because it's a really bad hazard. And if your boat's a little tippy going down it, boats could tip over. So if we get to that, that'd be awesome. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think if that's it with public comment, we'll have a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion 2 passes.
All right.
Motion 3, Mr. Lamb.
All right, I'm going to move to direct the assessor to prepare the 2026 Sidewalk Improvement Program SWIP District Number 2 Special Assessment Roll utilizing the low bid unit cost submitted by Italia Construction, Inc., with special assessments to be in as nearly equal installments over 3 years as possible and minimum $500 annual assessments, and to proceed to spread the special assessments upon the Village of Lake Orion 2006, 2007, 2008 summer tax rolls as necessary, and that the village manager and staff for the following addresses remove 6740 Orion Road out of the special assessment district, because they said they would do it themselves, to address the concerns of 584 Atwater and 537 Atwater with regard to their claim of village damage to the sidewalks, and resolve that prior to assessing, and then address the special concerns at 244 North Broadway, that the historical size tree designated that is special care and attention by the DPW given to protecting that tree, as it's an asset to our community, and trying to minimize disruption to the homeowner's special hostas in his planting bed.
Support.
Any other council comments? All right, we have a motion support. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for everybody's input on that, and I hope we continue to address those concerns. Other items, 10 other items. A, zoning ordinance and text amendments, sections 13.11 and 13.17, second reading and adoption. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, the Village of Lake Orion Planning Commission is recommending that Village Council adopt amendments to the village's zoning ordinance to amend sections 13.11 and 13.17. You've been provided with a copy of the two proposed ordinances, and council has already introduced and has given first reading to these ordinances. We provided you also with a copy of the Planning Commission minutes from April 6th, at which the public hearing was held on the proposed amendments, and the Planning Commission's recommendation to council.
Council? Well, I will make the first motion to give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 26-109, amending the Village of Lake Orion zoning ordinance, section 13.11, regarding accessory buildings, structures, and uses, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required notices.
Support.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes.
Go for it.
Recommended motion number 2, to give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 26-110, amending the Village of Lake Orion zoning ordinance, section 13.17, regarding parking and storage of mobile homes, travel trailers, motorhomes, watercraft, vessels, trucks, and other items, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required public notices.
Support.
We have a motion and support.
I have a question.
Yes.
There's also citizens, but Mr. McCleary, how long before these ordinances go into effect?
It goes into effect 10 days after publication.
And is there any grace period for people that may be in violation when you create an ordinance?
There is no grace period.
Are we planning on immediately going out looking for people to ticket? Chief?
So I would approach this is going to fall in my lap for enforcement. Obviously, our primary goal is to have compliance. We're not looking to enforce or fine anyone. So when this, my direction to my staff is going to be when this goes into effect, we're going to go, and if there are violators throughout the village, we're going to go and have conversations, give them copies of the new ordinance, and allow them an applicable amount of time before we start enforcing it, just because it is a new ordinance. We did a very similar approach when the council passed a mobile food truck ordinance last year. We went and put them on notice, made sure that they were aware of the new law, and then if they continued not to comply with it, and then we would have enforcement actions after that time, just to give the citizenry an opportunity to comply.
Thank you. Council, any other comments? Well, we have Harry, sorry.
I believe this ordinance adjustment is going to address the problem, and I think it's wise that we have done so, and it's very good. Been back. The one thing I mentioned, I think at the last meeting, and it's on your page 189, on 13.17.A.2, according to the ordinance as it's written, we can store up to 6 vehicles in the back street side of the lakefront property from the fall to the spring. I think that's extremely too many vehicles to be stored in the backyard on a lakeside. It can be 2 boats, it can be 2 jet skis, and 2 trailers. And that's the way the ordinance reads. It's a little too generous, in my opinion, for storage. But the new ordinance is spot on. Thank you.
You're just
Thank
mad
you.
because you can't get your...
Thank you.
Again, you're-
Gentlemen, we're having trouble hearing. If you want to have your conversation out in the hall, it's interfering with people trying to listen here. Thank you. Any other council comments on this ordinance at this time? All right.
Stack it up.
So we had motion and we have we have support. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes. 10B, introduction and first reading of ordinance adopting the recodified code of ordinances. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, the village has completed a comprehensive recodification of its code of ordinances as part of its transition from American Legal Publishing to Civic Plus Muni Code as the village's codification service provider. The recodification process involved a thorough review of the village's existing code, incorporating all ordinances adopted since the last codification update, reorganizing chapters and sections where necessary, correcting formatting inconsistencies, and updating statutory and internal references to improve usability and accessibility. Transitioning to Civic Plus will provide the village with enhanced online access to its code of ordinances, improved search functionality, and a more efficient process for maintaining future ordinance updates. The recodified code has been prepared to ensure that the village's ordinances are presented in a clear, organized, and user-friendly format for elected officials, staff, our residences and businesses, and legal counsel. In accordance with the codification process, the village council must adopt the recodified code of ordinances by ordinance. And you are being requested at this time to introduce and give first reading to that ordinance that would enact the new code.
Council.
I'd make the motion, but there's so many pages I can't get to it.
So the motion is to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number A10, an ordinance adopting and enacting the recodified Code of Ordinances of the Village Lake Orion prepared in conjunction with Civic Plus, replacing the existing codification maintained by American Legal Publishing, and to schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at the Village Council's July 13th, 2026 regular meeting, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required public notice.
Support. Mr.
Yes, Mr. Lamb.
So that I received numerous comments from citizens about the length of the agenda. So I went and I'm really glad that we did this because I've spent the last 5 years going through our old court of ordinances and not being able to find half the ordinance because I don't believe they were all online. Okay, I'm hoping that this time they are. And the other thing you can do, you can download this packet and you can load it into your Chat GPT, and it will, if you pay for the $20 version, it will read the whole thing. And then you can have it search and question all your ordinance questions when you want to come get the village people. So I'm really grateful because I'm always looking for additional tools to help me wade through all this 900 pages of ordinances. So I want to thank my friend Director Sanchez who turned me on to ChatGPT. And I've been using it on a regular basis now to read stuff like this and search it. I don't use it for judgment. It's a pretty powerful tool, AI, for reading stuff. So thank you for finishing this project.
I have one, if you could look at, I just have maybe a correction. If you would look at, I think it's page 480.
Use your AI too, huh, Steve?
No.
Yeah.
I read it.
I didn't bring you the book.
It says, in skateboarding, bicycle, and electrical personal assistant mobile devices, it describes the central business district as being the east sidewalk of Woodward, north to the north sidewalk of Oakland Avenue, west to the north sidewalk of Willits Avenue. It's Birmingham.
Yes.
No shit.
I don't want to have Birmingham in our, with all the development, we call the new Birmingham, maybe I should leave it in.
So you think that was from the recodification?
I think it was
That's-
AI.
Or you think it was AI? Or you think it was been in there for?
I don't know.
It was a test.
Yeah,
Passed.
and I passed.
My AI didn't catch that.
No, well, you didn't ask it to find errors.
I did, but I didn't want to bother you with all.
So just to have that corrected.
We will definitely do that. Our previous village attorney had
Yeah, I figured.
had prepared this as a new ordinance as part of the recodification.
Yeah.
And obviously, she was using another community's template.
Yeah, okay, well, I appreciate that. I think we should get that.
Glad you have a
corrected.
victim, someone to blame for once. I really appreciate that. All right. Good job, Stan.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. How did you find that, honestly?
Hey,
He read the whole code.
my middle name is AI.
Your wife read it for you, didn't she?
My wife read it
Your
for me.
wife read the whole thing. Yeah, she did.
Nope. After I found that, I kept looking through other things, then I really was trying to focus. So if you missed something, then that is on me. Okay, this was a first reading, and again, we got to go back to,
Well, I'll read it again now that we get another chance, right, before the final adoption? Is this the first reading?
The first reading.
You have a month to.
So give the AI another
go
shot
through it
at
one
it,
more
okay.
time.
All right. Says you can't tamper with your neighbor's car.
Well, that's, is that AI speaking? We're looking for a motion. Is that what you're doing?
What about the railroad viaduct graffiti? Do we even have a railroad viaduct?
Just do
When we
the
get it,
motion.
it'll be covered. Let's see what, we can, this is first reading.
already did the motion.
So we can look for other errors.
Okay, we
And
can
do it.
go through it one page at a time, George, if you want.
No.
I got.
You guys could do that after hours.
Yeah. 199 is what I have for the motion.
I couldn't find the motion, that's why I was looking at it. There's so many pages.
We have a motion on the floor, we just need to vote.
okay.
Okay. Motion and support apparently is ready, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we'll move on to 10C. Introduction and first reading of ordinance, amendments to Chapter 53, outdoor irrigation metering. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, pursuant to the direction of the Village Council, administration has prepared a proposed ordinance permitting the village's water and sewer customers to install outdoor irrigation meters to be able to deduct outdoor water consumption from sanitary sewer charges. The proposed ordinance accomplishes the following. It authorizes separate outdoor irrigation metering. It establishes the process and procedures for application, installation, and approval of outdoor irrigation meters. Establishes the process and procedures for reading irrigation meters, adjusting sewerage bills, and reversion of billing if irrigation lines or meters are modified or bypassed without approval. Establishes maintenance, ownership, and responsibility for irrigation meters by the village and protection of irrigation meters. Prohibits tampering with irrigation meters, seals, or service lines, and establishes penalties for tampering. Requires compliance with cross-connection and backflow prevention control regulations of the village and the state. Provides for enforcement, penalties, and service termination for non-compliance, and authorizes the setting of fees by resolution of council for application for separate irrigation meters, irrigation meter installation or deposit, meter testing, turn off and turn on, late payments, backflow prevention device inspections or verification, and other fees. You've been provided with a copy of the proposed ordinance, and we note that the outdoor irrigation metering under this proposed ordinance would be permitted for all customers, whether they are residential, commercial, or industrial.
Thank you. Counsel?
I've got a question on this. Wes could probably answer it. Okay, a guy waters his lawn. Where does it all go? Goes in the dirt. And the overflow goes where? Into the drainage. There's a sewer. It drains off someplace. Somewhere down the line, the water goes away, right? I mean, if you got excessive water, it's going to drain, and that'll end up in the storm sewers, I would imagine. You know, if you're up high enough, it's going to end up there. Did anybody take that in consideration? We're going to have to pay for that extra water to go wherever it goes.
We don't pay for stormwater removal. Sometimes there could be infiltration, but not on this scale.
Council member, you bring up a good point though, because there are other communities that have combined sewers, which means that they're combined sanitary and storm. And that would be a problem if we had combined sewers here, but we don't, they're separated.
George?
So when I read through the ordinance, I didn't see any reference to base charges for the new meter for either water or sewer. So if I got an additional meter, am I going to see on my water and sewer bill any base charges for that meter?
Yes, base charges apply to every meter.
And would there be base charges for water and sewer or just water?
Just water, that's what you're saving.
So my follow-up question is, what do the base charges cover? Because I'm struggling with why I would want to pay or why I would have to pay base charges on a separate meter.
Your base charge is your ready-to-serve charge. It's a cost split equally amongst the meters in the village to maintain the system adequately, to pay for the system, the infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure. Because none of this goes into the sewer, you wouldn't pay a sewer base fee, but because it comes from the water, let's say your meter breaks and you know, it breaks before, or your line breaks before the meter and we lose that water and we can't meter it, the village is gonna eat that cost eventually. So that base fee covers a little bit of that, plus what we need to pay for the system when it
But this
ends its useful
meter
life.
is downstream of my regular meter, right? I'm putting myself in I was pretending I was a resident, and I'm struggling with why I would have to pay that base fee. Because I'm already paying it. I already have water coming to the house. I already have ready-to-serve water to the house. It doesn't matter how many meters or how many faucets or how many toilets, right? I got service at my house.
I think the director and I are going to have more conversations on that because I tend to agree with you that if the irrigation meter is downstream from the meter coming into the house, we should not be charging a separate ready-to-serve charge for that meter. We're going to have those discussions and we'll have an answer for you at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lamb?
So you two guys, I agree with you. So the primary tap, okay, is the basis for a charge for the water system. So the ready-to-serve charge, one of the components is paying for the maintenance replacement of the meter and the service charges for the system. So the one part we didn't include here is you've got a second meter that you're going to pay for to get it, but someday it's got to be maintained. So there's got to be a structure to I don't believe that the base rate on 2 meters is appropriate, but there should be a charge that provides for the eventual replacement and the additional manpower required to subtract the 2 meter totals and bill the client for it. So whether that's an annual fee or an annual charge associated with the second meter, or whether it's a monthly or quarterly charge associated with a secondary meter, I think the fee schedule aspect of this should accommodate that charge. But no, I don't think that I don't believe that the base rate should be charged on 2 meters if you only got 1 tap. Because I think you guys are on the right track with that.
Okay, Mr. Samet?
Steve Samet, 245 East Shadbolt. I agree, and I appreciate you bringing up the fact that a second base rate is not necessary. And Mr. Lamb, in regards to your comment, if something goes wrong with that meter in the future, I'm responsible for its maintenance and its replacement. So there is no additional cost. I mean, what's the cost of billing me on my second meter? It's a subtraction. I get my billing by email, so there's no cost involved with that second meter at all, except if there's a problem with that meter, I'm then responsible for its maintenance and repair and replacement if necessary. So I would appreciate consideration for not charging a second base rate for that. Thank you.
Mr. Lamb?
So, Steve, we weren't going to charge you, I don't want to charge you a second base rate. Okay, so there's just a little minor issues. So you may be paying for the meter or paying to have it installed, but my understanding is that meter belongs to property of the village. Is that correct? And that there's metering equipment and such sundry things that report your usage. That has to be accounted for in some fashion. Whether it's a modest charge, I don't know. But no, you shouldn't have to pay 2 base rates, okay? But something in your meter rental or meter fee structure, something needs to accommodate for replacement of the batteries in the remote unit that sends your water data to West. So I don't know if it's, how much the batteries cost or whatever, but there's some minor maintenance and operation associated with that second meter. And we try not to give too much stuff away for free. Isn't this the Steve Samet ordinance anyway? Didn't we create this just for you? Aren't you satisfied enough? So,
Mr. Stevens?
Really what we're addressing is auxiliary water to water lawns and plants and things of that nature. Is there any ordinance or any rule that we cannot drop a well on our property for watering of plants and water, our trees and stuff? Is there anything in the books that say that we could drop a shallow well and put a point down and?
You talking about stab well? Just a stab well, like 15 feet?
Wherever the water is, and that. I had a home in which I could drop a point in 45 minutes and start pulling water from it for watering my lawn. I have no idea how deep water is around here, but you don't have to have drinking quality water to do your lawn. So if you can put a stab well, or whatever we're going to call it, in and pull out enough water to water your lawn, that may be another alternative for people who can't pull water from the lake, if there's no ordinance against that.
I'm sure there is. Everybody had to disconnect their wells.
All right, any,
that's a good, we should answer that question. Darwin?
the question about, can we?
What the learned councilman here just said was, did everyone have to disconnect when we did the water system? Everybody had to disconnect from their wells and septics?
Yes.
But is there,
For drinking water.
for drinking water though, right? So
Yes.
regular, you can put rain barrels out, you can dig holes in the ground. I don't think there's any prohibitions. Or do we have a permit requirement?
I'd have to research it, and we'll look into it
Yeah.
before you do your second.
Final reading.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Any comment by council? Recommended motion I'll make to introduce and give first reading to an ordinance amending Chapter 53, Water, to permit metering of outdoor irrigation and the adjustment of sanitary sewer bills accordingly. To schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at the Village Council's July 13th, 2026 regular meeting, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required notice of the same.
I support the Steve Samet.
We have
Water
a
meter.
motion and support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and then we can move on. Item 10D, quarterly goals and objectives check-in. Mr. McCleary?
Your Honor, council is scheduled to complete its quarterly review of its annual goals and objectives. I provided you with the goals and objectives markups with current progress for each. I do want to note for council that I'm in the process of preparing a spreadsheet so that we can track comments in the future. But we have provided you with an update on where we're at on each of the goals and objectives. Both the goals and objectives for fiscal year 2025-26, which is the fiscal year we're in currently, as well as the fiscal year 2026-27 goals for the upcoming year, because some of those goals you place deadlines prior to the beginning of that fiscal year. So we provided you with an update on those as well.
Council?
So are we going to go through them?
I guess you want to go through the red ones, and I just want to make sure that we have, this is accurate enough for him, so it does a spreadsheet that we are including things that want to be included, so. Go on.
Right, so it
Let's go-
says here,
I'm not sure what the spreadsheet's for then. What's the spreadsheet for?
Just for simplified reading purposes, to make it neater and to provide hopefully more understandability of our progress on each of the goals.
Well, I have a comment on,
I know I've got comments on several of them,
Well,
so I don't know how you want to do that.
Well,
go top to bottom?
I don't, well, I don't, yeah, if you have a list, let's go through your list.
Well,
And then,
so last year's, to me, are history. I don't see any reason going through those. I would just focus on this year's, be my suggestion.
well, why don't you said you had some, so why don't we start with what you have?
Okay, so I didn't have any comments on objective 1.1, that's the paid parking.
That's,
1.2, the committee to investigate the village township, that's listed as complete. I gotta tell you, I am totally disappointed, and quite honestly, I'm embarrassed at how this council approached this one. It is not at all completed in my mind. We had some very specific discussion around this goal when we developed it that didn't get transferred into the actual goal statement. But for example, we were supposed to start with, you know, the village attorney. What's the process? What should we be looking at? That never happened. As far as the process, we were supposed to look at the process. That was very specific and not complete. The village council can initiate with a referendum. That was not considered. We were supposed to look at pros and cons. That didn't happen. And we were supposed to get resident input, and we specifically excluded the residents from the discussion. So how we call that complete, like I said, it's disappointing and it's embarrassing to me. Can I keep moving?
Yep.
Okay, 1.3, it says not started, so what's the timing? You know, we said when we were doing these, we wanted SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable timing. So what's the timing on this one? Not started, okay, but when are we going to start it?
We
And
anticipate it
maybe
being
that'd be part of
completed
the
by
spreadsheet.
December 31st, 2026.
3.3, I wrote down timing on that one too. When will that be, when would we expect to see that one?
I'm sorry, which one?
3.3, investigate and plan the lake drawdown structure. Just says in progress.
I have had initial discussions with the engineer on this item. I cannot give you a deadline on this yet.
So I guess my thought on a check-in would have been we'd kind of go through these and we'd get a status update.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with going through them.
Okay. So 4.1, positive collaborative relationship with the DDA and the township, ongoing. I don't know what ongoing means. I'd like to know what our action plans and timing. What are we really going to do? Or are we just going to come to the end of the year and say that was ongoing? So there ought to be some plans about that. Approachability and transparency. One of the big ones in my mind on transparency was having all of our meetings having the capability of live streaming and as well as video and audio recording. And quite honestly, we're still bickering about that. And we're just going to talk about it at the last item on the agenda. If we were really serious about transparency, we wouldn't still be talking about that one. So the 4.4 says will not be complete by 6:30, so my question there would be, what's the new timing? What's the new, I mean, I recognize that we set timing and we may not make it, and that's okay. We have a plan, we didn't make the plan, so what is the new timing? It won't be completed by 6:30, so when will it be completed?
My question is on that regard, should we set that? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah.
then we should look at that and reset
And I'm
that,
not-
so that.
I'm not finding
Sure.
fault that we didn't make June
Sure.
30th. I get that things change, but
Yes,
we ought to have new timing.
Is the new attorney working on that currently? Is that
Yes.
on? You said previously that was being worked on by the previous village attorney, so I assume you turned that over to them and they're actively working on that now?
Yes, with the engineer.
So we have
There are
ordinances.
There are, I believe, 3 ordinances that have to be amended. The engineering standards are completed. And we've already posted those on the website. Those have been on for some time. But to have the authority to enforce them, there's a number of amendments throughout 3 different ordinances that have to be completed to officially put those into effect. The work on that was delayed somewhat with the change in village attorneys and law firms, but the attorney is aware of it, and both the engineer and the attorney are aware of it, and they are working on it together.
Since it says will not complete by 6:30, is it, you've been in touch with the engineer, is it, in re-looking at that for this purpose, would it be better to have you or the engineer come up with when might it be ready, so that on the next report, it would tell us, well, it's going to be, rather than when it's not done, when will it be done? I mean, we could set a standard, but we're not in direct contact with all
I think
that.
a reasonable time frame would be by September 30th.
Then let's look at it that way, so that so if there's no direction from us, I think that because you are in contact with the engineer, then to present us that new date, that would be acceptable. George, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lamb?
All right, we'll go back to the list. 1.2, form a committee to investigate, report on the village township consolidation completed. I sat on the committee, and I have to admit that I was very stressed out by the situation at hand with the committee and the meetings and the lack of inclusion. However, by consensus, we decided to move forward. The report on the committee was very confusing what the goals and objectives would be, but initially I read the law, and other members of the committee apparently read the law, and we determined that there wasn't a basis for discussing the elements related to consolidation of the village and township. If the committee had then said, if the committee motion had said, discuss consolidation of various aspects of village operations with the township, I would have entertained discussions that included the township and our staff, for consolidation of, water and sewer operations, DPW, police, whatever anyone wanted to talk to. I love to talk about everything, as long as it reduces the cost to the taxpayer. Other than that, everything is meaningless to me. I might note that we may get a chance to revisit that topic because the citizen came tonight, and said he's starting a petition to disincorporate the village. And if he is successful in getting, 362 signatures, that will be brought to the council, and the council will have the opportunity to form a special committee to really do an intense look at these kind of things. And like I said, after the lawsuit a couple of years ago, I'm totally open to any citizens bringing forth any petition to visit anything where the people get to vote. Because in this village, the people don't get to vote on anything. They don't vote on the millages, they don't vote on taxes, they don't vote on anything. Okay. So anytime you want to bring a petition for anything, come see me, I'll sign it, and we can have a vote somewhere. 4.1, okay, let's see, what could be it? The bridge is coming along. The lake drawdown structure, I'm sorry, I'll go back to objective number 3.3. I think it came to my attention, I could be wrong, that the building containing the outlet structure for the Lake Drawdown might be coming up for sale or might be being sold. So one of the big problems in our community is that for some reason we've let all these major infrastructure things into the hands of others. Maybe the village might want to consider purchasing that building or have the DDA purchase that building, and then this continual threat of the discharge from the lake drawdown destroying this guy's building. That's a whole liability thing that I just have never really talked to you about. But you know, we have two large pipes that discharge underneath in this, the foundation of this building. You know, it used to be a powerhouse, and somehow they managed to let it sell it. We kept control of the pipes, we kept control of the water control facility, but we let the the outlet go into private hands. It's another crazy village thing that just happened. So that's something we might want to look into. Lake drawdown structure. 4.1, positive collaborative relationships with the DDA and township. So that bearing in mind, I personally made some efforts to join with Matt Gibb and take some of our contentious relationships into a more positive and forward-moving dialogue. At the last Planning Commission, I questioned him about the lumberyard project, and he was able to confirm that the DDA is fully in control of the lumberyard project. The DDA is fully in control of funding it. The DDA is fully in control of operating and maintenance of the project. And it appeared to me, he indicated that the village would never be responsible for this property. So we're moving forward in our dialogue, him and I defining what I believe are our relationships between the DDA and the village board, so that there's no conflict, just clear understanding what everybody's place in the world is and where all of the money goes. So I'm moving forward on goal 4.1. 4.4, I'm anxiously aware I'm waiting for that to be done. 2, those engineering standards that require property owners to define what they're going to do with their drainage and their effect on next door neighbors' properties is very important. You can see that in so many of our residences and all the issues we have. It's because improper engineering was not followed when their houses were built or when the renovations were made. I keep telling everyone this is a village that has a density equivalent to the city of Detroit, needs to be managed like a city with regard to the density of the population. All right, my last comment on 4.5. I was very unhappy with the finish identifying, classifying, and determine the use of all village-owned properties. In red, it says, inventory and mapping report completed. Staff is working with property owners to review ownership claims. I got a big color glossy brochure with a bunch of photos in it, okay? I didn't get any copies of plats, I didn't get copies of maps of property. I didn't get even the most basic data that I would need to perform that investigation. And I do not hold the village manager or staff accountable for that report. They hired a consultant. I would really hope that these comments would be shared with them, and I would ask that that report perhaps be updated to actually include enough information so the affected property owners would at least be able to see what our claim against them might be. So if it's a road right-of-way that we claim that we own, that they're occupying, they need to see a copy of the plat, and maybe a photograph, or a copy of something somewhat legal. That way when they come in here, you know, so if the village apparently through this report has asserted a claim to the property, well, I don't see it that way. The village is not asserting a claim to any property. They're supposed to be establishing a basis that they own it. So we don't have to prove anything to the community because we're the government. Okay, the plats establish ownership, blah, blah, blah. But there was no plat. There's some photos, cars and things, and gravel. And so I think, I would think that report could use an update so that we could all clearly understand, you know, where these things are happening. Now, I'm not talking about a survey. You know, that would cost a fortune. Okay, have surveyors out there, it costs us $50,000. But there's enough data available on the, just, for them, they could have sat in their office and Xeroxed the plat and marked encroachment A and attached a photograph next to it. Minimum, in my opinion. In my opinion, you know, it's worth whatever. 4 votes is what my opinion is worth. That being said, I think you've done a really good job moving forward with the goals and objectives, and I look forward to seeing the new bridge. And I think this was a spreadsheet will have, we can see each of the progress points, Darwin. Is that what your plan? So we can see the tracked progress, or you just want? Okay, so just kind of a little bit easier. Whatever you think is better. This is kind of hard to read. So.
Any other council comments? There's no action on our part, so we can move on. 10E, live streaming and recording of special meetings, requested by Mr. Danielides.
Thank you. So I'm going to cut right to the chase and make my motion, and hopefully we can get through this in about 2 minutes. So my motion is to direct administration to schedule and plan all public council meetings, both regular and special, so that they may be live streamed and recorded, both video and audio, unless specifically determined and directed otherwise by council for a specific meeting. So we've had this discussion multiple times in the last 6 months, and we've agreed to have, from a transparency standpoint, we've agreed that this was the right thing to do, yet apparently the motion was not specific enough so that we would do this. This would become the standard. So my motion makes video recording.
One more time for me, please.
I'm sorry?
Would you mind reading it one more time?
Be happy to.
I know we're not supposed to discuss, but I'm concerned the wording may put some unachievable objectives on the village manager, but we can discuss that.
Okay, so the motion to direct administration to schedule and plan all public council meetings, and in parentheses, regular and special, so that they may be live streamed and recorded, again in parentheses, both video and audio, unless specifically determined and directed otherwise by council for a specific meeting. So I'm trying to establish that this would be the norm, that our expectation would be that we have our public.
So I'm gonna support George so we can talk about it. So I'm gonna support it so we can talk.
Okay, we have a motion and support.
Okay, so my only concern so far with this is if On TV says they can't do us today. So today, for example, the On TV guy was here at like 1. All came here early, make sure everything was set up because he knew we had a meeting, and he comes in and everything. But I recall on other days they say they can't be here because they're televising the township. So if we're gonna mandate it, we need to make sure that there is at least what if he can't do it? What if the On TV can't do it? I just want to not, make a dictator.
And so let's say On TV can't do it, then that becomes the exception, okay? And we agree by motion that meeting won't be covered because On TV couldn't do it. I'm okay with that. What concerns me is, I don't remember which meeting I questioned about.
We were all there, we know.
It was a doodle poll that just came out for maybe it was the water sewer rates. And I sent an email to Darwin and said, I'm assuming this will be in chambers so that we can record it and video and whatnot. And the answer I got back was, well, no, we didn't say for that one, we said for these meetings. That's what I want to get rid of. I want this to become the norm so that we're not debating it for every meeting. The debate would happen when we can't do it for some reason. Let's switch the expectation. That's all I'm trying to do.
I understand, but if they cancel, I know it's not gonna, I'm not making a big deal, but if he can't get the cameras here for the dates of our meetings, and we can't release him from his responsibility, then we're putting a burden on him for not performing. So, I just want to make sure that it's understood that if the services aren't available, he's not required to provide them. I understand.
If the cameras didn't work today, what would we do?
Nothing.
Right. So that would be my expectation. We're going to do nothing. But we shouldn't have to ask for every meeting, is this one going to be, is this one going to be televised?
Okay, so I understand your point, and I agreed to have all of our meetings televised and recorded. I believe, did we not have that motion before?
Well, yes, we did, and then we took it off the table. I went back and looked at the minutes. We took it off the table because we hadn't talked to On TV yet. So we took it off the table until we could talk to On TV.
And Sonia, I thought in the last meeting we did have input from them.
Yes, I've attached the email because I did reach out to Ian after Mr. Dandelides' request to see if this was feasible. And I do believe he does say in there that there are certain meetings, as Mr. Lamb had mentioned, that do take precedence. So scheduling could be a challenge.
But we would know about those ahead of time. Maybe.
So regular meetings, you establish a schedule every year. That's easy to work around. The special meetings, when they pop up, you know what I mean, they have other meetings, and I don't keep track of all the other boards in the area to know. I know Ian has mentioned that if we may not be live streamed, it may be recorded and uploaded later.
And that would be okay, because it's out there.
Yeah, it says.
There's the exception.
Sure. I don't want to make a big deal out of the exceptions, right? The exceptions are going to be exceptions, and I recognize that there will be exceptions. What concerns me is that if we don't make a specific motion for a specific meeting and go through all that harangue, the expectation is, the assumption is, we're not going to do it. I want the assumption going to be that we're going to do it unless we can't. Not we can't unless we make special arrangements.
There was a specific report here from Ian, right? That's what you just referenced, Sonia?
Mm-hmm.
And he's giving us basically a pretty good solid parameters of what can and cannot be accomplished. So
Well,
I would, if my continued support would be to include some verbiage subject to the availability of the camera people. We can record every meeting, correct, Sonia?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think-
so it's not so much that it can't be recorded. May I recommend, if you were to alter your motion to include all the special meetings to be held in the chambers, which does have recording capabilities, with the intent of it being either live streamed or uploaded later.
Yeah, I'm okay with revising the motion as long as we change the expectation, as long as we change what our normal process would be.
I'm happy to support you to do that. I don't mind being televised every meeting because I say the same things over and over and over again. I'm sure that they don't even need to hear me. So it's up to the other council members, to decide if they want it. But I'll support you in that, George, with some revision to accommodate inability to provide the service. So.
Any other council comments?
Yeah,
Nope.
of course.
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong with what we've been doing. We're recorded every time, right? We're being recorded there, and we get recorded in there. And for me, we get more done in that little room than we do here. And it's recorded, so I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't. I mean, what's your goal? Is just for somebody just to turn their TV on and watch us? I mean, what is your ultimate goal, other than what we're doing now? For me, this works.
My ultimate goal is that we are transparent in what we do.
Which everything's recorded, so how much more transparent can you get?
I think it's a great idea to have it be available for the residents to watch the meetings. We have a hard enough time as a council trying to get together and pick a date, and for any special meeting. And so sometimes what happens is it's very last minute, and that's my concern. And because on TV can't be available, and that would be the exception. But, I mean, I have no problem with it.
Well, and I don't have a problem with it either. I think the part of it for us is differentiating the atmosphere of that smaller room that might be more conducive to some open discussion, but I don't know why we can't duplicate that here. And there's been times in this forum that we have relaxed some of our procedures so that we could have open discussion. So I don't have any problem with having them in here, as long as we can still have some of those good discussions.
Maybe they could stick another camera in the small conference room.
There's
I mean,
been
is that-
discussion around making that room
Well,
totally
and
functional.
that would be fine too, but until that happens,
Right.
then I think that having them here will serve the purpose. And if we investigate the camera in there, then so be it, but until then.
Well, and some of the times with the special meetings, I mean, that little room, we have people, we have a lot of people in there.
Sometimes.
And so this makes it, at least we can, more residents may come. I mean, we've done that. I think we had one in here, right? One special meeting in here. So that's my only thing with, the conference room is it's nice, but if we get residents coming to those meetings, sometimes it's just a little cramped,
Just
a little crowded.
George, Sonia, you had added a little caveat to his motion.
Yes, I would, I understand your intent. I think most of what you can accomplish would be by having the special meetings in the chambers where there is the capability of live streaming or recording at a later date. So I would maybe, if you could, alter that, because Ian has mentioned that it can get recorded, it just won't be live streamed depending on the other boards in the area. But it's still uploaded. I mean, in the little room, we do record, but we record on the tape recorder, and we don't upload to the web because of the space of the tape recorder. It's a very large file. So if they're in the chambers, they're gonna be recorded. And Ian told us he's gonna try his best to do it. If not, it'll still be recorded and uploaded at a later date, which satisfies what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had a question about the audio recordings. So the audio recordings are usually made on your little tape recorder, so I can go online and download those. They're huge files, right?
I tried to email them and it won't let you
No,
send them.
they're too large. They'd have to be on
flash drive.
yeah.
But we saved them all. We have them all on the internal drives.
So they have offsite storage, right? Like Dropbox, and there's accounts where you can upload large files. These things are huge, though. So the only way we could put I like the ideas, face it, we're online now. Everything's online. So the citizens want to be able to click and search. They don't want to, struggle. So if the easiest thing has been on TV where the meetings are televised, you can just watch them and fast forward them, and it's great. The auto recordings, I've tried listening to them, and to get them is just difficult beyond imagination. So either we get a Dropbox account, and then we have, create a web page with access links. God knows how much that would cost. Or we just keep recording them and then, add some cameras, or I'm all for it.
And I think Ian's letter hits it.
Yeah, his letter's good.
On the money, especially in 2027 when there'll be additional requirements for captioning systems. So anytime we move it out of here, it can be an issue. So I think the motion is fine, and I think we can accomplish that and stay within the guidelines that Ian has presented us. Any other comments? We have that motion as it was amended with Sonia's additions, and that was seconded there. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 11, call to the public. Mrs. Ford. Priority over.
Good evening, Rosemary Ford, 225 North Broadway. One thing that I want to say tonight is that you all speak of transparency, and I commend that, but yet there are members on this council that want to look at getting rid of the village, which I find ironic because when you run, then you have to take an oath to uphold our, okay, I short out on this every time. It's not Constitution, it's our charter. Excuse me, thank you. And so that's not being transparent because a lot of you, your end goal is to get rid of this village. When if anything, you should be seeing what it is you can do to make this better. So I think that's something that everyone on this council should look at and think about. And my other thing is, it was brought up tonight about a gentleman that owns a business in town and how at one time there was a power mechanism underneath because of the dam. And I understand that. But in the same sense, while he's concerned and complaining, he's a pretty smart cookie. And I think anybody that's in that line of work would have done their due diligence and, again, checked into that instead of complaining about it. Possibly there might be something involved with the village, but at the time he bought it, he had to have known that that's what was underneath there. So while he's concerned with that, it's like, well, if you had that big of a concern, then why did you make that investment in the first place? So I'm not a business person, but that just makes common sense to me, that if I was going to make that kind of investment, I'd be making some inquiries before doing so. So thank you for listening to both my comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
The last time for tonight. In reading through the packet, and we're looking at the goals, I noticed one that's been around for some time, and that's the bank stabilization on Paint Creek. At a cost of $500,000 is the estimated cost for that. So that drove me to go to Google, and that is, should we try to mitigate a meander? Meanders are the bends in rivers and things like that. And the answer is generally no. Trying to artificially straighten, armor, or mitigate a river's meander often accelerates bank erosion, destroys local aquatic habitats, and worsens downstream flooding. Rivers naturally curve to dissipate energy and fight their natural geometry usually becomes a losing and extremely expensive battle. I believe that we're looking for the stabilization. I'm only guessing that it's starting to encroach on a sidewalk that's in the park area. I think it would be a heck of a lot cheaper to take and move the sidewalk for some dollars as opposed to adjusting nature. There are ways by soft systems of trying to reduce the meander, but hard doing it is not a good way to do it. So I would suggest we really look at that bank stabilization and the $500,000 that we're talking about, whether it's coming from the DDA or whoever, it's real money. And if we could simply move the sidewalk so it's not affected by the meander, I think that would be great. Meanwhile, put some of the DNR recommended vegetation along that meander to reduce the impact of it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, we can move on to council comments.
There's two of them on there, Stan. Can I talk twice?
Oh, there's,
Only talk half the time.
yeah, we're gonna, yeah. So I guess you're saying you're going first.
Sure. I'm going to steal Nancy's. I'm going to thank everybody for coming tonight. I want to thank the sidewalk complainers for doing a really, really nice job of voicing their concerns. so that we could adequately address them. That was great. And thanks for coming and talking about not mowing the grass. I get yelled at when I don't mow the grass. So I understand but I understand your position. So that being said, that's all I got to say.
All right, and you want, you do your second one now, or you want me to wait till then?
I'm waiting for you. That's fine.
Don't bait me.
Mr. Camperoni?
Sure you're done? Can't-
They're
can't-
begging me.
Can't be. Well, you know, tonight we talked about a lot of stuff we can't do anymore, more ordinances and stuff like that. Well, it seems like as we do that a lot, what things we can't do in this village. I want to think about something we can do in this village. You can walk down the sidewalks at midnight, you don't have to worry about anything like that. You take your kids down to the little park down there, you can let them run free if you want to. Don't have to worry about that. If you have a problem, you come into the office here and talk to somebody. They're going to talk to you and address it. Same with the chief, or all three of these guys, all four of them over there. They'll take care of you. There's a lot of pluses to do in this village. You want to take your kids fishing, you take it fishing. If you want to go on a boat ride, shoot, I'll put you on my boat and we'll go for a boat ride. There's a lot of good things in this village, and we don't want to give up. It just seems to be like people out there want to get rid of it to save a buck. Well, you know, sometimes it takes $1 to make your life better. I mean, we can't keep thinking about the things we can't do and the negative things. We got to keep going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. George?
Rosemary, I'm gonna address your comment. I think that looking at options, be it cityhood, be it consolidation with the township, I don't think that's necessarily looking at getting rid of the village or a predisposed notion or a path of getting rid of the village. I think it's prudent, and I think it's reasonable to look at alternatives and look at the pros and cons and make an informed, educated decision on direction. And it's my responsibility as a councilman to look at alternatives and to determine or help determine what's in the best interest of the village, okay? And so I don't know who you're speaking to, but I'll just speak for myself. If you're suggesting that my goal is to get rid of the village, you're mistaken, okay? My goal is to try and do what's best for the village, and that's the oath that I took, what's best for the village. And that may or may not be any one person's preference on what happens, but that's the oath that I took.
If I would just have, can I have an opportunity to rebut or no? If it's under council comments, I am.
It's council comments right now.
Very well.
What's that, George? Nancy?
Well, I always say thanks for all of you for coming and anybody who's watching. I don't really have a lot to say, except the weather is finally cooperating, and we were able to get our first boat ride in on Memorial Day, which was really late. But, so enjoy the weather, enjoy the upcoming events that are happening, and be careful on those sidewalks if you're walking. That's it.
Thank you. Eric?
All right. No, yeah, it was great to see good engagement. We've always got a lot of opinions coming here, which I appreciate, and feedback for all of us. And, you know, we touched on a lot of topics. The sidewalks, I think we can say with some of the trees, we got to the real root cause. You guys with me here? Come on, root cause. All right. So you guys were thinking it. I just was the one that said it.
Too late for Dave's statement.
All right, but anyway, no, it was great feedback. I think, yeah, like you said, Nancy, a couple of things that were on the agenda that got approved was dragging on the lake and police car show, great event coming to the community, so looking forward to more of that for our residents to take part in, our businesses to take part in and feel some of those good things that are going on. Even though we're, focused on fixing a lot of problems, there's still a lot of good things happening along with it too.
Okay, thank you. I think part of what tonight that struck me is really the value of those public hearings. The process that we go through when we're making some of these decisions, when we have a public hearing and people do show up for those. And I think the people that showed up, we were able to address their issues. But if they don't show up, we may or may not have those issues on the top of our mind when it comes to voting. So it's important that the people stay informed and that they, and then express those opinions. Because I think that, to me, that was pretty constructive tonight. But it's also points to that we kind of have to, I think, kind of trust the process, because there is a process to getting things done within the village. And if we know all the steps of that process and you can see that we're getting there, then I think that's important. So we're not jumping the gun on things and complaining about things that down the line we're going to be able to address. That's all I have. Mr. McCleary, village manager comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council, you've received the manager's report for tonight. I noted for you that we need to send out another doodle poll. There was only one date over the past week and a half that we could get a majority of council together. Unfortunately, our main staff person who was able to present the water and sewer rates could not make that one night because of family commitments. So we will need to reschedule that. We really are going to need to meet next week to at least get through the water and sewer rates so that we are prepared for the public hearing on June 22nd. The contract for the basketball court replacement project at Atwater Park has been executed, and the project will be completed this summer or early fall. I will be out of the office for the remainder of this week. I'm having surgery tomorrow. Public Works Director Sanchez will be serving as acting village manager for tomorrow while I'm in surgery. I will be available the rest of the week if anyone should need to contact me for any important matters. Our office coordinator, Barb Rice, has submitted her letter of resignation. Barb has been an absolutely invaluable member of our team for several years, and we are sad to see her leave us. We wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Her last day of work with us will be August 31st. I did note for council that this does provide us with another opportunity to discuss whether we want to continue with the 5-day operations, or if we want to reconsider the 4-day operations. There would be considerable cost savings that could be had by making that change, but that's up to council. I also noted for council that our part-time officer, Chris Mulder, has also submitted his resignation from the police department effective June 24th. Officer Mulder has served the village as a part-time officer since June of 2016, providing nearly 10 years of dedicated service to our community. Throughout his tenure, Officer Mulder has been a stellar employee who consistently demonstrated professionalism, reliability, and a strong commitment to public service. His contributions to the department and the village have been greatly appreciated, and his presence will be missed. Chief Amundsen and I would like to thank Officer Mulder for his years of service to the department and our community, and wish him continued success in his future endeavors. Council, I've also provided you with important upcoming dates for your information. Your Honor, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. And with that, I'll entertain a motion
Make the motion to adjourn?
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Meeting adjourned.